Let's talk about the best way to fund your startup. I get this question a lot. I am a small business attorney. I'm licensed in Missouri, Texas, North Carolina, and before the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I do a lot of M&A, but I also do a lot of startup work. And one of the questions that I get from folks who are in the bootstrapping stage, meaning they're spending their own money, um, is how can they get funded? They're at a stage where they need to get money from other people, and they're trying to figure out what is the best way. Should they go and take out a commercial loan? Should they get an SBA loan? Or should they be trying to get equity investment? My answer is almost always the same. If you can get some equity investment, that's what you should do in all instances. It is better to give up a little bit of equity to be able to have risk free capital for your business. And when I say risk free, it means that you're not going to lose your house. And I say that theoretically. I know there's homestead exemptions and all that stuff, and bankruptcy protects houses. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that you need to be able to if to move on if it fails. The problem with an SBA loan is that if you default on an SBA loan, you actually have to pay that loan back. And people don't know that. They're guaranteed. And so the actual lender, the SBA doesn't make loans, they just guarantee a loan. That lender is going to get their money back. They're not going to come after you. They're cool. The SBA, on the other hand, they may not come after you, but you got one shot. If you don't pay them their money back, they're not going to let you get another SBA loan until you pay the money back. Now, this will be surprising to people, but if you pay the money back later, they will give you a loan. But it's just not the best way. You pay a bunch of interest, yada, yada, yada. The best way is to try to get equity investment. And when I say equity investment, I don't necessarily mean that you need to go to a VC. You'll see if you watch any of my other videos or pay attention to me, or if you know me, I talk a lot about which types of investments are going to be appropriate for VC funding, and a lot just aren't. They just aren't. If you have a small brokerage somewhere, like a VC is not going to invest in that. That's not scalable. Now it could be, if you franchise. I'm big into franchising it as a way to expand your business, but that's a whole nother video. But you want to get equity investments, and so you can, once you value your business at a certain valuation, you can then start sell parts of that business to other people. They become equity investors. Just because someone's an equity investor does not mean they're going to come in and take over operations. Just because they're an equity investor does not mean that you're still not in control, right? You get a lawyer, you structure the deal such that you remain in control. The best thing about an equity investor is, again, is if the business fails, you don't owe anybody anything. The equity investment, they give you the money, they get a piece of equity. If the business fails, they lose their money. That's how it works. With a commercial loan, they're going to ask you to sign a guarantee. That means that if you default, you're personally liable. So they're going to go after most of your assets. That's what's going to happen. Even if you file bankruptcy, right? They're still going to try. Um, they generally will secure the loan, and so they can go seize that property. Most of the commercial loans that are in default that I've seen, there's actually a UCC1 filing. Those UCC1 filings are very, very powerful. It allows the holder of that lien to simply send a letter to anyone or any entity that owes you money, and they'll say, hey, redirect the money that you're going to give to Tom and give it to me. And what do? They redirect the money. They don't tell you. They don't have to. They just send the money over. It's almost like a child support payment, right? It just comes out of the check. There's no requirement that anybody warn you. So, your business is going or your life is going, and you think you have money coming in, and as most of us do in this country, you spend the money before you get it. And lo and behold, you learn that you're not actually going to get the money because it's been diverted. And most people don't read those UCC1 filings, and most people don't read the loan paperwork to see that most of the time you pledge all of your assets. Even though it's a business loan, you're going to give them permission to collect not just from the business assets, but from your personal assets as well. So be super careful about that. SBA loans are a little bit better because there's a lot of information. They're very transparent. They try to make sure you understand. But again, what I see is typically small business owners just don't read, um, which is a problem. I think I wouldn't have any business if all the small businesses actually read the contracts that they were entering into. Most of them just don't. But when you're taking out money and you're putting your livelihood at risk, it's really important that you actually read all those contracts. So um, just to recap, you want to try to get equity investors if you can, even if they're your friends and family. And the second choice for me would probably be an SBA loan, and then the last resort will probably be a commercial loan. For most small businesses, they can't get commercial loans anyway. So commercial loans are really for companies that are already doing fairly well. They're already operational. Commercial lenders don't really like startups. They're going to try to force you to do the SBA because of the guarantee. But yeah, that's it. Try to get equity investments, if you can. And if you can't, don't be afraid to take out a loan. Don't not start your business and pursue your dream because you're afraid of debt. Debt is a part of being a business owner. It makes more sense to do business with someone else's money than your own in any case. So I hope that helps. Again, I'm Ahaji Amos. I'm a small business lawyer, licensed in Missouri, Texas, North Carolina, and before the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And I am not your lawyer, and I'm really not trying to give you legal advice. I think you should go get a lawyer. Thanks. Bye.